Hi, in lesson 2.4, we're going to talk about how does place value affect the value of a number, and how can we use a calculator to change the value of specific place values. In lesson 2.3, we talked about different place values. We said the first three are called the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. The next three are all the thousands, the 1,000s, then when you have 10 of those, the 10,000s, and when you have 10 of those, the 100,000s. The next three are all called the millions. 1 million, and when you have 10 of those, we make 10 millions. And when we have 10 of those, we make 100 millions. So let's go back to our guiding question. How does place value affect the value of a number? So if we're looking at the number 224, okay, so that would look something like this. That would be 2 hundreds, I'm just going to do a quick sketch, 2 tens, and 4 ones. So how is this 2 any different than this 2? Well, this 2 represents, like we said, 2 hundreds, whereas this 2 only represents 2 tens. This is 10 of these, and you can see that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if you were to count them, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200. So this 2 in the hundreds column is actually 10 times bigger than this 2 in the tens column. And you can model it with division. 200 divided by 20 would be 10. Okay, and you can see that right here, we illustrated that. Let's look at it with a different example. Okay, so now let's try this number. Okay, instead of 224, let's try the number, okay, 331. So rather, this 3, what's it represent? You're right, 3 hundreds. This 3, it represents 3 tens. And this 1 would only represent 1 1. So this 3 is very different than the 3 that we see in the tens place, because this 3 represents 3 hundreds, and this 3 only represents 3 tens. Okay, this place value is 10 times bigger than this one, and I can show you over here. Okay, 3 tens, let's look at that 10 times. 3 of them, 2 times, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that's 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 5 times, 1, 2, 3, that's 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 7 times, 1, 2, 3, 8 times, 1, 2, 3, 10 times. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, 260, 270, 280, 290, 300. So the hundreds column is 10 of this column. So in the place value chart, whenever we have 10 of something, we move up. And whenever then it gets 10 times bigger, we move up. So in the place value chart, as things move this way, they get 10 times bigger when they move this way. Okay, and then when they move to the next, so with each place value, they get 10 times bigger, or I can write it like this, 10 times. So if they take it 10 times bigger as they move to the left of the place value chart, what happens if they move to the right of the place value chart? Well, if you said they get 10 times smaller, you guessed it. So 300, okay, 3 tens is 10 times smaller than 300. So when things move to the right on the place value chart, they get 3 times smaller. So when for hundreds to turn into tens, they have to get 3 times smaller. For tens to turn into ones, they have to get 10 times smaller, or I can say divide by 10, right? Now, on to our last question. How can we use a calculator to change the value of specific place values? So let's look at specific place values. So let's say I wanted to change the number 331 into the number 231. So if I want to change this place value, right, if I want to change it from 300s to only 100, then I'd have to subtract hundreds. So if I wanted to change 331 into, let's say, 131, I'd have to subtract hundreds. So let's try that with a calculator right now. So I have the number 331, and I want to change it, and I want to change the 300s, and I only want 100. If I want to take away 2 of those, I have to do minus 200, and I'd have left 131. Okay? Let's try with a different number. Let's try with a bigger number. 1,526. So if I wanted to change the 2 10s into 0 10s, what would I have to subtract? So 1,526. And I want to change from 2 10s, I want it to be 0 10s. So I have to subtract 10s. From 2 10s to 0 10s, I have to subtract 2 10s. So I'm just going to minus 2 10s, or 20, and then you get 1,506 with 0 10s. Okay, let's clear that and try with a different number. Let's say I had the number 14,982. If I didn't want 4,000s, if I only wanted 1,000, what would I have to subtract? I'd have to subtract thousands. So if I have the number 14,982, you'll see the comma right there. If I don't want 4,000s, if I only want, let's say I only want 2,000s, so I have to subtract 2,000 minus 2,000, and then my number, the difference should be 2,000 less, 12,982. Okay, so today, in 2.4, we talked about how does place value affect the value of a number. When the place value moves to the left, it gets 10 times bigger and 10 times bigger and 10 times bigger and 10 times bigger. So although you might see the same digit, when it's to the left, it's getting 10 times bigger. Okay? As it goes to the right, it's getting 10 times smaller. So 14,992, well, these 900s are actually 10 of these 9 10s. Okay? All right? And lastly, how can we use a calculator to change the value of specific place values? Well, if I have the number 2,365, and I only want to change the 6, and I don't want 6 10s, let's say instead of 6 10s, I only want 1 10. So then I need to subtract 5 10s, or 50. And now I have it. Now, I've subtracted 5 10s, and my difference is 2,315. Goodbye.